Hi, you're some wealthy guy that went to the island of gods that I created. Um, so you're some really wealthy, fancy guy. You heard what I put on these posts and followed it. So you thought or said, my queen, my queen, my queen. You had an aircraft, so you thought, okay, I'll start flying from like the end of California. I'll just start flying out into the water and see if some power or force grabs me or tells me where the island is. So you started flying towards like the direction. And you were just flying and flying for a while, and it was pretty. Really pretty water, really pretty area. You made sure that you could just fly from California to the country on the other side of California. So you were just flying and you were thinking, if I don't find anything, I don't find anything, whatever. But all of a sudden, a god grabbed you and you got nervous. So then they stopped grabbing you because you were nervous. Then another god was trying to grab you. You were less nervous, but the god was nervous. So they let go. And then you kept flying. And I think you were about, just a few miles from the island. And that's when I said, hey, buddy, so you coming on in? And you were kind of scared, but said yes. So I grabbed your aircraft and I let it in to the island. But I was really busy, so I stayed with the gods way up high in the sky. So you saw me. You saw me as a god outside of this fake flesh thing. And I was way up in the sky with other gods. And you landed. And you checked out like 3 or 4 different areas. And you talked to angels and monsters and more. And you found out from gods kind of what this whole end of the world ends up and how things end up. And you really thought a lot about books or movies, stuff like that, stuff I had been saying. Um, you were happy that you got to get to the island, so you're golden, you're good, and you live on. But you started feeling bad for people that just don't want to care or take, the time seriously. You were kind of excited that a bunch of stuff is just fun and free in God's world. So you're used to business and everything costs money and everybody wants somebody to pay money for everything. And you thought it was kind of fun that the island has all kinds of free stuff just to be happy and free and wealthy and happy and free. And then there is massive fancy stuff or where you could shop or buy things. And then towards the end, a monster said, well, aren't you going to go to the vault and find out what your worth is to God? I mean, your bank account may be what God was trying to tell you is your worth all along. But maybe the vault says you were worth far more. I haven't looked. I don't really know. But don't you want to go check? And then so the monster took you to the vault. And you got to find out like the dollar amount that God feels you are worth based on your morals and your soul today. And you brought some of that money and some gold and stuff back from the island. And you brought whatever evidence they would let you bring back from the island. And now you've been talking to people for days. And for some reason you're asking me. So I'm just going over that I know and what happened at the island. And then I guess I'll just wait and see if you say anything else.